said that already.
No, you didn't.
I'm worried about it now.
It's down in the safe. Yeah. So, yeah.
God, the safe. So we were in the Walker's in Steele's Viking. And
right.
He says, let me put all this shit in the safe. We're a fucking boat. Who's going to get our stuff? You know, passports, all that stuff.
Right.
We got to do it. Cash, everything goes in there. There's nothing to buy on Walker's. There's nothing there.
Right.
But whatever.
It's like all generators still, isn't it?
Yeah. Put it in the safe. We get there to check in. Can't get in the safe. Won't work.
Oh, God. I thought you were going to say the boat got robbed that night.
Really? Are we loud enough?
No. Dude, drop a 2-pound lead on the thing and it's not so safe, just folds.
Right.
Instantly. So.
What, the safe?
Safe, yeah. He drops a 2-pound lead on the thing and the door just
opens up.
Yeah, not so safe.
At least you got your shit out.
Yeah. We got checked in.
I mean, could have been a lot worse. It could have never opened up for anything.
Yeah.
Right? When was this?
First week of May.
Okay.
Yeah. Good trip. Great trip. Flat calm the whole time.
Yeah.
Marlins, mahis.
And Walkers?
Yeah.
How you like it over the Walkers?
Oh,
it's cool. I saw a cool documentary over the weekend on Waypoint was playing. They did that documentary, that first tournament that they had over there with Carl Allen and all those guys.
We fished that one.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool documentary that they did. So very respectful and
neat dude. Carl seems like a real neat dude. Can we fire that AC up a little bit?
Oh,
fat guy's sweating over there.
Daddy's getting warm.
Yeah,
you getting warm. Are we actually podcasting right now? All right. Did you fix the AC for Papa Bear
70.
over here?
It's on 70.
All right, cool. Right on.
Not cool
I thought
enough.
I was having
How you
hot
doing,
flashes.
Karlene?
I'm doing, baby.
Yeah?
I'm doing.
You're hiding out over there?
Mike, can you see me?
I can't see you.
It's all right.
All right. Cool.
But can you hear me is the question.
I can hear you.
Okay. You might not want to do that either today. So
we're here today with these fine gentlemen, my very dear friends. Tim Maddock and Art Sapp, captains respectively. Welcome once again to a place you're familiar with. Connected by Water podcast, presented by or powered by Joey Cardi, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and fueled by our very good friends at Papa's PLR Rum, who remind you never to be a spectator.
Tim's spectating tonight.
All right.
I'm spectating.
I just earned my money.
Are we dry right now? Or?
No, I might have to get on a plane at 6 in the morning. So
How you working at 6 in the morning? You'd be all right. Pour a little rum in that bottle.
I'm good.
He's drinking vodka. Don't let him lie to you.
There you go.
I'm trying to hide it.
Jesus.
There you go.
So why are you going to North Carolina?
Work.
Or North Dakota? Sorry, I said Carolina.
Work. That's where I should be, fishing the Big Rock. But
yeah, no doubt.
Got to go to work.
And they pull up. What? How big marlins do they pull up today?
Someone hooked one at 10 in the morning, and they just boated it like an hour ago. There's been a 536 and like a 570 wade.
Mm-hmm.
It's been amazing.
Still fighting one.
4 years, last 4 years, just epic bites.
Someone's still fighting one.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, last year didn't they keep bringing up a huge one and then another huge one and
that was the 500, wasn't it? Mid-Atlantic 500, where a guy weighed like a 9 something.
Right.
The next day, the guy on 1100 or
Johnny Duffy killed a grand
giant.
Yeah.
Hell, they were both
and
giants.
the white marlin. Didn't he kill like the biggest tuna or white marlin also in the same tournament?
Really?
He got the biggest blue and second biggest something.
That's right.
Yeah, he killed it.
They got paid there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be heading up to the Jimmy Johnson in a few weeks next month. It's up in Atlantic City.
Yep.
So that should be interesting year 2 of that tournament. So
fun fishing up there. It's just the thing that sucks so bad about it is.
Are we loud enough? Yeah. All right. Sorry.
You fish for 6 hours. You run forever, but you only get to fish for 6 hours.
Right.
We'll
And
run
it's
that far
early lines
offshore.
out, right? 3 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get those deep canyon runs, and I just, you better get on some fish quick.
Yeah, you get 6 hours.
Yeah, running out like that. Yeah.
Run that far, you got 6 hours to fish. If I'm staying. That's the tough thing.
Yeah, I kind of learned a lot when I was up there last year about just, this obviously the way people are talking and like how far you got to run out and the different ways they're fishing for them and everything like that. It's pretty interesting. It's completely different fisheries than what we're used to. Yeah, obviously.
Well,
we're running north and south mostly. Half the times you run that far when you're running all the way up, to the Rand and all that. But
it's different fishery in the live bait deal, but it's the same dead bait fishery that we do when we're stretch fishing wherever we happen to be in the Caribbean or whatever. It's the same guys doing it, just different places, different time of year.
A lot of tuna.
Oh yeah,
a lot of tuna.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything with the sonars up there?
Oh,
they made any?
Oh no, the tournament changes. I don't know.
I heard that
You
was all
regulating-
kinds of.
regulating
Yeah,
them?
I heard there was
They haven't done anything yet that I've heard.
talk of having 2 different divisions.
You need
Guys were
one.
pissed.
That's as far as I know. It's
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be fishing those tournaments, you want to win. You better have one.
When you got 6 hours to fish, I mean,
Yeah. You ain't got time to hunt.
Yeah.
you mark one, you can stay with him, and hopefully he bites in them 6 hours. You know,
Yep.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the one that that Darren got on the that's the name of that boat. It'll come to me. Anyway, they got that on the last day and the last hour. They caught that 678 blue marlin.
Yeah.
To win the tournament
Which event was that?
at the Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
with a sonar.
What's that?
They had a sonar
Marked it.
on the boat, or
You know, I mean, I'm sure they did, but I don't. You know, they were going for whites, and then actually they started out going for blues, and they pitched out for blues, and then they're like, oh, forget it, we need to just get in this tournament. You know what I mean? So then they went out, pitched out for whites, and put their spread out for whites, and ended up catching a big blue.
nice.
So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. The cool thing about that fishery is you teasers and everything. You're fishing for all of it at the same time. I mean, you might have your dink spread in the water, but
You got something on standby
Yeah,
if the right one
always.
comes up.
Yeah.
You're trying to get the little stuff away from them and you know,
Right.
get the right rods.
and inevitably it happens every year. Somebody gets bit on a freaking dink bait on a
Right.
giant. It happened to us in Walker's there. We hooked a 400 plus on a dink bait, and I'd stepped up the gear a little bit just in case to be ready because we weren't fishing the tournament. And whatever, but he lasted on there to about 5 feet from the leader and chafed. Yeah, it
So
happens.
I have a tough time introducing you guys on this show right now. I'm thinking about a way
That's hard,
to
Sapp.
do this.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
That. But I mean, for people that you know watch the show already, it's like that's what I'm saying. I have a tough time like introducing you guys for people that never really tuned in to listen. I just want to do it just for posterity here. I'm sitting,
The dude that once owned
right.
outright Hillsborough
How
Inlet.
about we do it this way? We'll do it this way. You introduce Tim. Tim, you introduce Art.
Well,
How about that?
I
You
got
go
this.
first.
The
Right.
dude that once outright owned Hillsborough Inlet.
Do a
without
good job.
doubt. No, I'm
Go
doing
ahead.
it right now.
Do it. Go through it.
Owned
the whole
it
thing.
outright when I moved up here in 2000. Got here and wasn't in the tournament scene at all. It was just a recreational fisherman / commercial deal. And I moved in across the street from Jamie Bunn. We've talked about on the show several times and heard about this guy and his brother. And okay, this looks interesting. And he had the smoking hot wife at the time and gallivanting around and kids chasing around. It looked like a hell of a life this dude was living. And he was whacking fish. And there was a community up here. And this dude was the king of it as far as I was concerned, just having stepped into it. I said, I think I can get used to this pompano thing. I like this, whatever. And got to know him a bit and only fished with you that one night sword fishing after my Ocean Master sunk there. But the intensity, when you're commercial fishing and you're recreational fishing, it's fun. And the commercial thing, there's some intensity, but it's got to last a long time so you don't go near as hard. I've never seen anybody fish as hard as that dude did. I mean, he went
Right.
hard, start to finish. So that was where I started changing my ways, was because of the way this dude did it. And I'd like to think that I'm stealing a piece of Hillsborough Inlet to be my own now from this guy.
You stole it.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good setup for Tim there, because I mean we talked about it at length the last time you were on, to where we kind of dove real kind of deep into your history and your evolution, and maybe your path now and how it's changed from what it used to be, and the reset in your priorities, and your perspectives, right? So we kind of went through all that on the last time you were here, but introduce this guy for me.
So I remember, I think the first time we fished together was when we went tuna fishing that day.
No, we sword fished on your
No,
call.
but I mean
real
daytime. We were
yeah.
going to the Bahamas. It was too
Keith's
rough.
boat. No, we went Keith's
we went tuna
34
fishing.
before
That's
that.
right.
Actually,
So we went that.
Yeah.
But the first time we ever
Over here
fished
on
out
this edge,
here,
yeah.
we were supposed to cross. It was too rough, and we went up the live
Like
jumping with
we're-
all the,
yeah.
and we crushed tunas and kings and
Sails.
Sails,
You threw
it
that
was-
big musclehead dude in the water and he wanted to kill you.
So when Artie, I remember Artie coming and just kind of getting into it recreational, and he started doing the meat fishing thing, and took that to a different level. Won Jamie series umpteen times, different ones, the whole thing. And we'd be in the Bahamas or like for the scales tournament or whatever. And I'm like, what are you still doing these meat fishing things for, bro? You got to get into sail fishing. You do the same amount of work and you win 20 grand. Wait till you got $100,000 sailfish jumping on the end of your leader, and he, he
You weren't wrong.
He got into that pretty quick and did that the right way. And you don't fish with many people that, they're like, wow, they're tuned in, they got it figured out, whether it's meat fish, there's guys that can do it and guys that can't, and he's done it all now. He's done the meat fish thing. I feel like he's almost gotten away from that
I try
now.
To get back. I'm trying.
And he's, recently, like you see him coming back, but it's all been sailfish in the last, I say, few years. It's been 10, 12, it's been a bunch of years now.
Yeah, and starting to creep over in a little bit of the marlin fisheries too in the past couple of years as well. And
for fun more than anything.
Fun more than anything. But I think, eventually I think that my meager prediction on it is like it's going to become a little bit more robust for you. I think. I'm not saying
you got to work for somebody to do that, and I've proven so far that I'm not very good at that.
You just got to do it more. I believe in you, Art. But listen. Let me reel that back a little bit, okay? Because I'm sitting across from a couple of legends now, right? And
sounds weird, doesn't it?
It sounds weird, but it's true. Because I always try to bring perspectives and shed light on different things the way I see from a 30,000 foot view on a lot of the things that we discuss on the show. Tim, we talked about the phenomenal things that you've done with your sailfish state records, among many other things that you've done. But to me, that really stands out as just a kick in the ass because you did it, someone beat it, and then you said, "Fuck that, I'm going to go beat it again," and you did. Right?
But it got beat again.
It got beat again, but
the same day.
But it's all right. You know what I mean?
I got a funny story to that. So, do you know Sammy from down to the Keys?
Not well, but I know who you're talking about.
Never met him before. Mm-hmm. So we went down there in the cup. To try, and we thought they were going to tail down there. Met Sammy, and so we look at those days of tailing sailfish. And when I caught the 50 in 2009, never been done before. Mm-hmm. Like it was like, oh my God, they got 35. Oh my God, they're up to 40. Oh, they're up to 45. We're like, now we're trying to get to 50. I caught 20 the day before that. It was the best day I ever had. Mm-hmm. Now we catch 50. And then Main Attraction beat it a couple times. The other Sea Hunter guys down there beat it a couple times. The day, and I met the captain, Sammy, that was running Scott Martin's boat. Mm-hmm. The day we caught 65, he caught 76. And just how it came together, and now we're kind of buddies, how special that was to make it all come together like that and just see, two boats catch 140 sailfish.
It's insane.
I mean...
It's insane. It was the same place.
Side by side.
Yeah.
Side by side.
And was it in the same place as you did it on the 50 too?
A little bit further north.
But very close. Though.
Really, same waters.
Yeah, same waters.
Same, like running from Hillsborough to, to Boca. I mean, it's all, pointing.
It's a phenomenal feat. Absolutely phenomenal feat.
Unbelievable.
And I also want to bring up the tournament year that Native Son had. Was it 2020? 2020.
Last year.
The year before last season, right? Yeah. Was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, I think, in professional sport fishing is the run that they had during that year. And then a little bit before that, too. I know you're going to shake your head because there were certain conversion things that didn't happen to like consummate.
It was a good money year is what it was. And we won a couple, but
you kicked the shit out of everybody on the water that year, Art. No. He tries to be so humble on this show, and he really on this show just in life.
So we didn't capitalize at the end, and that's really where what'd you do at the end? We didn't capitalize, whatever. It was one of the best tournament years in the history of planet Earth.
Year, and they're really hard to do. It's hard to catch the bait. It's hard to rig the tackle. It's hard to put the team together. It's hard to get them all to show up on time. It's hard to get them in there for pre-fishing.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't happen.
And then make it come together against whether it's 30, 40, 60, 80 boats that could all win a tournament now.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't back there in the old day. We were just talking about it yesterday. It's like back then, 120 boats in the tournament, 80 boats across the board in the Calcutta, 50 of them had no business being there. They just didn't. Boat names you never heard of before. Mm-hmm. Now, even though tournaments have dropped off with entries a little bit for whatever reason, you don't have those 30, 40, 50 guys that have no business being there. So it's 30, 40, 50, 60 boats that any day, hands down, can win a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's very tough. It's a tough deal, man. It really is.
Yeah, you've traveled a lot more than I have. The competitiveness here has to match up and be as good, if not better, than.
I think we talked about it the last time I was here. Casey Hunt's dad, right? He was, it was Eddie Wheeler. It was Casey. It was,
So I want to get into South Florida legends with you too.
All of us growing up, and like that was before you started.
There, yeah.
And his dad used to tell us, if you can charter fish or competitive fish here and be successful at it, you can do it anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He said, here in North Carolina, if you can be successful charter fishing or competitive fishing, you can do it anywhere.
And we see it all the time. Like if you go to any major tournament or major port or major hot spot where there's a hot bite happening, you're going to find someone from South Florida there.
Right. Yeah,
no doubt about it.
That's the interesting thing is that the bit of time that I've spent traveling was there in Oregon Inlet, North Carolina, and that community, a little rougher, but was Pompano when I first walked into it. It was Pompano all over again. It was same vibe, same feel.
Right.
Every day's a tournament on the with the charter fleet or just a recreational fleet, and that's the difference from when I was growing up. What you caught. You didn't tell a soul.
Right.
And we're talking about 10 miles down the beach.
Right.
Lauderdale didn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew what you caught. In Pompano, it was, how'd you do? I got you today, or fuck, you got me today, or whatever. It was always a competition once you got up here, and that was a really cool aspect to this town and this fishery and in this community. Really, it's a fishing community far larger than it was when I first moved up and met these guys. But
we have to pick up this call.
There you go.
He calls to be part of the show, and here it is, our good buddy from Papa's Pilar Rum, Michael Myatt. How are you doing, Mr. Myatt?
Dennis, how are you guys doing? You got an all-star lineup down there tonight.
Yeah, we got a couple of modern-day legends on our hands here today, Mike.
You really do.
Legends are
You
dead.
get that
I'm
one
not dead.
good-looking guy, and then you have Artie.
Elvis was a legend.
He just called you real pretty and called me ugly. Damn it.
Listen, you know what? It takes a lot to look that pretty. Okay.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, I don't have that kind of time, Artie.
Yeah,
I really
me
don't.
neither. Me neither.
I really don't. But before Artie leaves here, Dennis, give him my phone number because we play phone tag way too much, and he's been a great ambassador for us, but he needs to get something for it. I was kind of wondering, is Karlene in the shop tonight?
Karlene is here.
We're talking too much.
Is she?
Yep.
Hey, Karlene, are you on the mic?
I'm on the mic. How are you, Mike? Mike on the mic.
Are you behind the bar?
I
She's
am behind the bar.
Yeah. Can you hear her?
Well, I can faintly hear her, but can you hear me?
Come over
I
here,
can hear
Karlene.
you. I'm over here talking to the mic. It's the Polish in me. Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
I thought I heard a curse word, but I'm really not sure.
It happened from time to time on the show, yeah.
Well, it's bound to happen in daily life. But anyway, Karlene, once again, following up on you having your second beautiful daughter. My God, I mean, you put out beautiful children, you and Mike. Congratulations once again. But I just wanted to say thank you in a special way from Papa's Pilar because you're always there. You're always hanging. I mean, I'm behind the bar with you. You're pregnant. You're making me drinks. You're hustling around. You're always, spreading the gospel about great rum. And I would like to thank you. First, there's going to be a very special gift coming from a very talented artist friend of mine who you may or may not know. He's sitting across the room. His name's Dennis Friel. And in a form of something that you can hang up in your house. But also I wanted to tell you is that I'd like you and Mike to be my guests at our corporate apartment down in Key West for 2 or 3 nights, however long you guys want to stay. Kids are optional. It's a great place. It's right downtown. It's right next to the distillery. But I just can't thank you enough for everything you've done, not only for Connected by Water and Papa's Pilar, but the fishing community as a whole. I mean, you're a connector, and, I'm just proud to have you as a friend.
How's that sound, Karlene?
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. Much love.
That's awesome,
much
Mike.
much love, but no roosters. I don't care what you guys are into. There's no roosters in the Cooperative Park. Okay, one rooster. It's got to be
one rooster. One rooster.
One rooster. It's got to be dead, and it's like what is that? What's that crazy voodoo stuff?
Santeria.
Santeria.
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn, dude, what are you
Artie,
into?
quit smiling. Artie, quit smiling.
Baby, so whatever it is, it must be working, right?
Awesome. That's
But
awesome,
anyway,
Mike.
Thank you so
you know, I just
much,
want to give
Mike.
you guys a call and say much love. And I'm getting hazed by my wife because I'm not cooking the corn on the cob on the grill because I put it in sugar on the stovetop. And my God, it was like I kicked her dog, which I may do or may not do, but that'll be later, not on the air. But what do you guys think?
Hey, what are you pairing up with that corn on the cob there, Mike?
I have 2-inch thick center cut pork chops with enough fat that have been marinating since yesterday. Brined and marinated with dales and some oranges and pineapples.
There you go.
And,
Where does he live?
White rice.
Oh, Mike doesn't play around.
No,
Mike does life right.
No
That's
doubt.
for sure.
Clearly.
I need to eat.
Yeah.
You know, and if I can't cook it, I have the best diner in the world, which from everyone that's listening to this from New Jersey and New York or wherever, I've got a diner up here in Orange Park that makes the best club sandwich, and they are skippy. I mean, I call them 20 minutes later, the club sandwiches here, and it's excellent. And for everyone that likes to eat, which I do, I miss South Florida.
You got to come down anytime, Mike.
Dude, I live in Fleming Park. They fry salads up here. I mean, they fry freaking everything.
Dude, Orange Park is west of Jacksonville. It's out. He lives in the boondocks.
Yeah.
I do. I live, you know, when you come out of Jacksonville, 295, get on 17, you leave Orange Park.
Yep.
And then you go to this place where,
like
3 miles, there's like no one takes a right. That's where I live.
Oh, lovely.
Well, it's not quite Darwin's waiting room, but it's as far as food goes, it really is Darwin's waiting room.
You know, these guys think they're in Darwin's waiting room because they keep calling them legends, and they don't like it.
Nope.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you one quick story about Artie. Okay. And I've only fished with Artie one time in my life, which is a sin, but I remember when I called up Scotty B, had a friend of mine, Mark Melnick, had a television show on
Canadian
what the fuck
Dudes
network. No, it was WFN. Yeah. I like Mark. Mark's a good guy. He's a Canadian dare. Hey.
Yeah.
And he showed up and Preferred Marine Boat was there. And, you know, Kirk and Cody are, I love them both. I mean, I've been with them since they've been like 8 and 10 years old. They pull up in the boat. Artie's driving the boat. Mark Melnick pulls up, brings out those carrot sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And Artie looked at them and said, I'm not fishing with that shit. I'm just not going to do that. And I took Melnick aside. He goes, well, they're one of our major sponsors. I said, well, listen, dude, you fished with another one of your guests and his crew. They did nothing for a few days in a row. Dennis, I'm not going to say who the guy was, but they just didn't work out. So they left the
Art may say
sticks.
who it was after we.
Yeah, he may, and that's okay. I mean, that's but it's not me. So we go to Hillsborough. We go around the corner. I'm laughing. Scotty B and I are freaking laughing. The kids are coming up. This is before Cody could even grow a mustache. So I guess he was like, I don't know, 7?
Long time ago.
Or something like that. So we went out, and Artie's saying, well, we're going to go out here and just hang out a minute. And he says, there's this egg forming. And everyone on the boat's looking around at one another. And, I'm on the front of the boat. I'm not going to be on TV. I had more chins than a Chinese phone book. So Artie positions us perfectly, and he goes, hey, look at this. And these guys got this B-roll of this pot of dolphin coming through, the sun glistening on them. And everything was going perfect. He goes, okay, everyone smarten up. They're freaking here right now. Let's go. Get the kites out. When I want to tell you, get the kites out. I already remember I was on the front of the boat. I'm fishing, freaking hardheads off the sea anchor. I caught 4. Okay. Artie caught the host, 2 beaties, the host dad, and the cameraman sailfish. We caught 11 that day. And you look at Artie.
Yeah.
He wasn't sweating. He wasn't like beating his chest. Or he's okay. It's time to go. It's done.
Great day.
And it was done. But you know what, brother? That was a memorable day.
It was a great day. Flat ass calm, too. Light westerlies.
He remembers this shit.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Middle
awesome. Bit of a slight trickle of
carrot sticks.
Craziest looking dude. Orange. Bright orange.
Okay. I got Richie Cunningham, right here with a Stella on it.
All right.
No, I can't do that. Okay. Listen, you guys, get back to your show. Love you much, Denny. Karlene, I'll be speaking to you soon. Anytime you want to redeem that, you're good to go. I appreciate everything you do for not only Papas Pilar and Connected by Water, but the industry. I mean, you're a connector, and you're like that Ruth Buzzy? Hello, the operator that used to plug stuff in. That's probably too old for most everybody. Bouncer will get it, but
Bouncer might get
everybody else won't. Bouncer may get it. All right, you guys, have a great show.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Bro.
Right.
Thank you guys for everything. Later.
Bye.
Where were we?
I don't know. What happened was.
Sounds like fun.
Thanks, Karlene.
That sounds like no kids.
No kids.
Yeah, Key West, no kids.
Yeah.
Key West.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Take a distillery tour.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Irish Kevin,
Much
stumble
love.
across the street.
That's it. Little sloppy
No
joes.
roosters.
I don't know what I was talking about.
Much appreciated.
So, I mean, listen. I love when Mike calls in. He's a good dude, man.
For sure.
I love when he calls in too.
So
yeah, you get stuff. That's awesome.
That is very awesome.
Cut you off before, but I think
I don't remember what the hell we were talking about.
I don't know, but one of the things that he kind of brought up that made me think too. It's like it's interesting that when you got to hear this from so many people, how you gave them a good day. Right?
That's the cool thing about charter fishing.
Right.
That's.
I mean, how many people come up to you and say, "Man, you created a memory for me that lasts a lifetime."
It's no different. He did the hunting thing before I did, so it's kind of funny. We talked about that.
Yeah.
How you change up, and I know when I go hunting with buddies when we had camps down here and just sitting in a tree stand shooting a hog, I get the same pleasure out of it today that as the first one I shot. No different than getting a sailfish bite on the kite.
Doesn't go away.
The day I stop shaking in a tree stand or stomping in the tower, I won't do it anymore. And
it ain't gonna happen, bro. There's no way.
When you bring somebody and they bring their kid, or I just brought long story, but this guy called me, he said, "Hey man, I heard you can get me on a pig hunt." So I know a couple people, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I just moved down here from Wyoming and my 13-year-old wants to shoot a hog. So we went to Mike Dinnan's place in Okeechobee. He was shooting a gun. I was sitting in a tree stand with a bow. I ended up shooting 3 with my bow, and he missed 1 with his gun.
Oh, Jesus.
Poor kid. But he was still like pumped up. He's like, "Oh my God," he was, he's eating at the feeder, and that's what it's about. When you can show wife, girlfriend, kid, son, daughter, just somebody that can't get on a boat, that's not whatever, that's what it's about anymore.
Yeah, and I think that helps keep you from taking it for granted, seeing that excitement in them and whatever. I try to stay relatively even keel and mellow. Try to, at least.
Yeah, I don't.
I know.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, so that's an interesting point. And that's something that Mike brought up on the call too. Their art was cool as a
I learned that
just sitting there chilling out. But I'm sitting across the table from 2 very different dudes.
Yeah.
That are equally talented. You know what I mean? But they
Totally different.
Your approaches to work are completely different.
Well, it's a thought process thing for me, and I think that Tim, from what I know of, and I'm known him pretty well now, is like a fast twitch muscle. He's a high strung. The thoughts are rolling fast. For me, I'm meticulous in my thoughts, and it's got to happen slower. And I learned from the paramedics thing I was doing when I was lifeguard training way back 1,000 years ago. When shit starts to hit the fan, I try to slow my thought process down enough to where I don't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if I tried to be Tim, I'd miss it all.
Right.
I don't think that quickly. I can't.
Right.
I can't roll at his speed where clearly he can't.
Do you have a conscientious thing in your head that goes, I need to get on this dude's ass or whatever like that? Is you do it like on purpose, or is it just like a natural thing that just happens?
You know, I mean, and I think there's different types of excited. You have people that get excited and they're mean to the crew, they're bad mouthing the crew, they're disrespectful to the crew. I'm not like that. I'm
Never
anti.
Yeah.
It's all, we got to do better. We got to go faster.
Right.
We got to be, Artie's beating us by 2. You know, it's let's go.
We're here.
Let's go.
We're now. While we're in this minute, we need to make
10 more
count.
bites. We got to make everyone. You know, it's slow fishing or it's good fishing. Whatever. It's just we've been practicing our asses off, and we got hours and hours and hours invested in this. Forget about the money, and we got to go. It's not the one of the kids that was fishing with me for a while fished with Ray Rocher in one of the tournaments, and he's like, the guy doesn't raise his voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just okay, there he is on the right long. He's like total anti what you've kind of.
No, I when he shows up, I'm roaring.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard you a couple boats down before. I don't
roaring.
know that you're that quiet, but
I'm not quiet, but I'm slower in my processes, I think.
Yeah, it's just different, different. I love it. I mean, that's what,
right.
We're driving the boat. We're not reeling the fish in anymore. Not that matters, or, again, you get way more pleasure watching someone else do it.
Yeah.
So that's our, we've been working. They're rigging the baits. They're putting the rods out. Hopefully they're in the right position. Hopefully it's the right bait. Hopefully the bait's bridled the right way. We're just trying to
get there,
raise them.
Yeah.
Right.
There he is. Now we got to do.
Yeah.
We got to make the connection and make it happen.
So, and then turn that one into more. But you remember when you got your first tower boat there, and I was starting to get to playing the tower, and Chip was saying how y'all aren't going to be as successful getting up there and not being on the deck and being more hands-on. And for a minute there, I was buying into it a little bit. Like, oh, shit, I normally do. And I watched you do a lot on deck. That's what we did.
Yeah.
The small boat world we were in.
There is, and not to mention any names, but in recent, we've had these conversations where, again, I don't have a boat now. I just kind of jump on. Anybody needs help. I fish with my son and his boss, and spending time with my kid, and you bounce around to different operations. And I've got some good buddies that been mates their whole life. Exactly what we went from the pier to the drift boat or whatever, and center console boat, or buddies got center console boats and they're fishing and doing the tournament thing forever. They get their license, they move to the bridge or the tower, and it's not the same.
Yeah,
it's not. So I believe that wholeheartedly, that some people are way more valuable in the cockpit, and
some people are chiefs, some people are Indians, kind of thing.
Well, you still play the chief role from the cockpit.
Yeah, and I believe that there's merit having. You got to have the guy down there that's running that. Mm-hmm. Just because you're up here, you're not really running that. Somebody's got to be. You get on that. You get on that.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Jimmy.
Yeah, and you're either micromanaging from up there, which they don't appreciate, and you think you're seeing, but you're not sure.
Right.
And if you're doing that, you're taking your eyes off what you need to be looking at.
Right.
So it was a change for sure.
It's and again, you're used to letting a bait out a certain way, rigging it a certain way. Shit, this guy's got his whole side out. This guy's only got one bait out. It wouldn't have been like that if I was down there. It's a learning curve like that. Also, it's tough change because you've been hands on for so long.
Yep.
Definitely, it's a management issue. I mean, you see that all the time in any work environment. Like you got a good, you got a good guy that's cranking out jobs or whatever the task may be. And you try to promote him to management, and all of a sudden he falls on his face. And it's just like maybe you're just not cut out for management. I don't know, but that can be. Maybe some people are more just running around, bouncing from rod to rod, and saying, "Hey, hook it like this, hook it like that," and that's their comfort zone, and they just. And
there's also reading water and where are we going? We can all talk about where we're going, but ultimately, we're making the decision
for sure,
left or right or how far or how deep.
100%.
And certain people are just all we got to do is look back. Watch our baits, make sure everybody down here is doing the right thing. Now you're up there and you're still making sure this is good, but I need to be looking that way.
Yeah.
To make some opportunities
100%.
happen. And a lot of people can't do that either. They're not used to doing that because all they've been doing is looking this way.
You
their
see
whole
this
life.
all the time in the art world. And I always try to bring this. I always love tying in fishing and art because there's so many parallels, right? There could be someone who's just an amazingly talented artist or amazingly talented illustrator. It's like, okay, convert that to try to do it for a living.
I know one very well.
And it's a different
My cousin who did
situation.
the etching on my.
Amazing.
I mean, it's
I've still got some of his work at the house.
his.
But you try to do it for a living, you try to do it for business, and there's all these other aspects start coming into play that you can't manage, and it's not easy.
Right.
It's not easy at all. It really takes on a different kind of way and a different kind of life, and you have to start looking at things from a macro point of view. You're looking at body of work, or you're looking at managing projects, or you're looking at talking to clients and things like that. All these other things that happen when you're a captain or when you're up on the bridge that the people down in the cockpit don't see. They may be very good illustrators.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you're trying to run an entire thing, changes.
whole deal.
A big aspect.
That's Research
of it.
Brother, right?
Yeah.
What's he doing now?
He started, he was big with the glass.
Yeah.
He was, he can paint or draw
He's great.
anything.
He's great. I know his work. He's great.
His fish are amazing. And, he started a business, had to sell it to a guy, started again, had to sell it to a guy. And I think he's back. I don't even know what, I think like in recent, he's back like half working for somebody because he couldn't make it.
Mhm.
It's been 30 years, it's not been 5 years. It's been our whole lives now.
Yeah.
Business end of it's all. That's the hardest part for
Tough,
me
man.
too.
That's tough.
If he had somebody's signature on his artwork, you go back to, any of the artists, that, let's say you're newer kind of, Guy Harvey's shirts, when, that was like
I
the
don't
big,
know what you're talking about.
back in the day.
Guy who?
You look at these artists
You heard of that?
that have been around forever. If his artwork had
Johnny, look that up. Guy something. What was his last name?
Gay Harvey.
Sorry.
I don't know.
But
We'll talk about it after the show. We'll figure it out.
with his artwork, if he had a signature on it and all he had to do was sit in the back and do the work, same thing that we're talking about, I think he would have
flown.
he would have killed
Yeah.
it. But he couldn't do any of that.
And then listen, maybe I don't know. It's not for me to say, the why, what, or how on that aspect. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything like that. But honestly,
It's tough.
if just from being on that side of it and running this and everything like that, it's not for everyone. It really is not. And I get frustrated with it all the time. You know what I mean? There's some days where I just want to throw in the towel, and I get it, dude. I get it. So I'm not going to criticize anyone who doesn't want to go that path and just wants, because there's days where you just couldn't do it and not enjoy your art.
Right.
So there's days like with fishing, like is there days where you just
when
like
you go to the
doing it
fuel
for a
dock
living and you're
and
not enjoying it?
$6.50 a gallon. I want to throw in
Yeah,
the towel.
that sucks.
Fuck.
Is there? But where's your like Mendoza line on like?
Oh shit, we crossed that
and
4 months ago.
no, well, like for like love,
Actually,
love versus like passion versus
So,
like job.
Love
versus,
it,
what I
dearly
mean?
love it. I want to go. I'm so excited to go every day. But when we first started charter fishing, got out of the golf business, I thought, well, this is going to help the tournament thing a little bit. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong
Mhm.
because it takes a goddamn much time. I don't prep as hard as I used to when it was just work and then tournament fishing. I was younger too.
Right.
You go 22 hours, you nap for a couple hours and keep going again was fine. You can't do that anymore. But we are not nearly as successful now charter fishing for a living in the tournaments as we were prior because the time just isn't there.
Right.
You got more time on the water. You think, oh, I know where to go, what the current's doing, what the bait's doing, hey, where the fish are biting, but
you can't do the work.
You still can't shortcut the preparation.
Exactly.
And
That's where it's at.
if that is interfering with that,
Yeah.
it's kind of a catch-22.
Yep.
It's the exact parallel to.
Yeah,
I can't sacrifice quality of the work either, and
Yeah.
it takes time. And it takes investment. I get it.
Yep, no doubt.
100%.
It's all trade-offs, right?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's why in the wintertime, when the week of the tournament, I absolutely lose money because I don't take charters as much. We might fish one day, week of a sailfish tournament, just because I want to make sure I get the effort, put in the effort, get that part done. Where I haven't done that for the meat fish tournaments. I'll work until the day before.
Yeah, but and there's so many of them now. It's like, how do you pick what
Yeah.
you take a week off for this one, a week off for this, and that's what I did my whole life.
Yep.
I was able to do it, but everybody's like, price right now. You know what I mean? And they didn't say that about Artie back in the, when Artie started doing it in the meat fish tournaments, then the sailfish tournaments. It wasn't, well, the guy's got 5 pros on his boat and he fishes for a week before every single tournament.
Yeah, just go beat him.
But that's kind of the thing with Bryce now is, he's got 3, commercial kingfishermen, for lack of a better term.
3.
And they 4.
Kyle, Wes, Thomas,
Jimmy-ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
So,
So
He's got a
go-
superstar young buck on that boat too. Sometimes when he has Jonah with him too. Jonah's an upper cover.
and they fish 3-4 days before the tournament,
Yeah.
like they're tournament fishing.
Yep.
All the bait,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he beats it up hard.
It's tough to compete with. I mean, but let me rewind it a little bit, like leading into that, and like what the scene has become compared to what the scene used to be. I mean, we're talking about like even going back to like rodeo days, and the way like life used to be for right here.
Right.
Yeah. And compared to the way it is now, I mean, some things are the same, and some things are completely different. The way the teams operate are absolutely different. I mean, before it used to be like we talked about some things about, just bring on a captain or a mate who knows what they're doing and throw the whole boat full of my buddies, and then we're going to go win this tournament. You know what I mean?
Right.
That used to work sometimes. Now that really doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
it less, I would say, in the meat stuff because everybody's got to really know what they're doing with the circle hooks and the sailfish stuff. 2 mates, a guy running a boat that really knows what he's doing, and the work is done, and you can compete. And then that's expensive, and then you better be on, you better do it right, but
Mm-hmm.
but you can compete more there like that. You're dealing with 7 lines,
Right.
Meat fish stuff. It's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff you got in the water.
The I want to talk about
Beneath his
Karlene. Do we have any strange questions to throw up here? Anyone chime in on that?
We got a
yet?
lot to talk about yet.
Got a little
I'll-
bit.
wait.
Not let me pull it up real quick.
I'm going to ask one right now from
It wasn't me.
Ask the Lipsky one. So, listen. Legend is the word of the day.
Not
No.
yet.
But-
Not yet.
No, but hear me out. I know you say not yet, because you don't want to feel like you're done.
No, he's still alive, is what he's saying.
I get-
Legends
I
are
get-
dead.
I get it.
Legends are dead. As far as I'm concerned, I'd say you're not a legend till you're dead.
So we have talked in the past about how, all right, the rise of you two in this area has really done great things to bring up this area. Innovation.
No, that was him.
Innovation. No, but
long before I got here.
innovator.
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
Innovator. No doubt about it, right? Performer. No doubt about it. You have performed in this space fantastically. No one said no. You
So
have.
he's a
him too.
giver then, right?
So he has. What's that?
He's a giver.
He's a.
Sorry. I gotta say something back here.
Sure,
Just-
sure.
well, you
I don't
can
get it.
say
but
whatever you want.
Sure.
Who's missing at the table?
Oh, fuck. There's a world of folks
Tell me.
doing this stuff.
Skip.
Still. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Give me your Pompano Mount Rushmore.
Oh, Pompano.
No, just give me your Pompano Mount Rushmore.
His brother. They don't get along so good right now, but still, he was in the meat side. Really,
Not
really
getting along
good.
with your
Had
brother?
his success.
Yeah, he did it for. I mean, he did it for a long time,
Yep.
but never.
Not
I
nearly
don't.
as successful as you. No doubt.
Like, go
There's no
back
denying
as far as you need to go back. Like,
it.
what's
The
your,
Hunt
what's your
family.
what's your Pompano Mount Rushmore? And then we got to. I'd love to hear what your South Florida Mount Rushmore is, but
Hunt family,
Hunt family.
Frack,
Casey Hunt.
frickin' frack, and all that.
Well,
that's
it's
not
really
Pompano.
that's Lauderdale. I grew up with them, and they
Yeah.
were at South Lauderdale there. But his wife,
Yeah.
certainly Debbie David, was certainly up there in the Pompano Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I imagine the rest of her family fished or something. I don't know. But
It was, and then there was that.
John Bassett.
There was that
Bassett,
fine line
yeah.
before that. I remember frickin' frack the first Fort Lauderdale billfish tournament on their Black Intrepid when they
yeah.
did good. Never heard of them before that, and then who's this boat? Right,
He was a commercial guy down there. With
and I
us.
remember that, like, and Jimmy and Fred, Freddie couldn't have been,
Yeah.
and from that day, every tournament they made their mark. You heard about them. They won a daily. They caught the biggest king. Whatever the story was. you go back to the Sundance guys, the Fergusons.
I've heard about the Fergusons.
Well, that was down Davie, Don and Barbara Ferguson.
That was why when I was a kid, my old man and Billy Curtis on Carl's Bait and Tackle wouldn't fish the local events because they swore the Fergusons were doing some shit.
Yeah, they were chumming with pilchards and fishing pilchards, and no one else knew what one was.
Yeah.
When I bought my Mako from Kevin McDaniels, so I bought my Mako in 92. Mm-hmm. So
graduated high school in 92.
That's when Fat Louie was fishing with him, and he was getting top junior. We talk about this blackfin tuna bite now. Some people say, oh, it was way better back in the day. I've never seen anything like it is now. I had 25 blackfin tuna bites the other day. Kite fishing, I've never had 25 blackfin tuna bites out here. Kite fishing. Sometimes anchored up back in the day, chumming. When you could do that, we'd get more bites. But his deal is if I'm going to buy the boat from him, we'll fish the rodeo. And I was like, shit.
We're doing
I didn't even have a job. I fudged the paperwork with the girl at the bank. I got a $21,000 loan. I got this boat, V8 Evan Root. I'm going to win every tournament out there. And a week later, we started doing our thing. But that was all, laying the rods down. They're not up in the gunnels, rocking with the old jig masters. He's chumming with pilchards. Still only had a 50-gallon bait well on the boat, so you could only hold
so much.
You went out bait fishing that morning, you caught your 200 pilchards and your 40, 50 goggle eyes, and it was just, it was just a learning curve where you start doing things a little different. And I think there was a point where there was a lot of different boats that there's not been. I don't feel like there's been a bunch of boats that have steady been doing it for 25 years,
right?
30, you get burnt out on it. You go hunting, you're done. You
can't get burnt out. So
it's a lot of work,
and that's why I look at him with the charter fishing. And it's funny that he just said it again. And I'm like, Artie, if he could charter 7 days a week, he'd be the happiest guy on the planet.
As long as somebody was supplying me bait. That the bait.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it for all the money in the world. You know what I mean? It would take the fun out of it for me. Now I wouldn't take care of my tackle.
So that goes back to that Mendoza line question I asked earlier. It's like, where do you draw that line of like, you got to make a living doing it? Like, I deal with it all the time. It's like, man, we're so inundated. Like, I hate to talk bad about it, but fuck, the shirt jobs that come in, they're great. I love it.
Hire the right person and shut it.
What?
Be grateful.
Yeah. I am. That's what I'm saying. I want to be grateful, but I want to be here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
More than that. And then all that stuff, just managing that just takes away, from.
I just want to be in the ocean. So charter fishing brings me
I just want to be in the ocean too, Art.
You picked the wrong job.
I just want to be
the wrong job. I freaking started painting fish for a living, like thinking, I'm going to paint fish for a living. I'm going to fish all the time. It's like, working like 60 hours a week.
Oh, God, I wish 60 hours was all it was.
So, Mount Rushmore, where are we at? All right, let me ask you this. Do you take a guy, because I know we're talking about, like, categorically speaking, we're talking about, like, catching fishing. Like, you take a guy like a Skip Smith and a Carl Anderson, like, you put him in this.
Those guys are ahead of me, for sure. They
made
a giant mark, right?
Are you going to put that in, like a different category?
Right. They're more world travelers doing amazing things.
Are we talking, like, just like guys that really just made this local scene like the best of the best, like on this field in this park?
What did they do? Did they fish here much before?
I don't think. I mean, not like that.
Yeah, they went and did their thing elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, Skip Smith was
he's a god.
Different countries, different parts of the world that people never blew marlin fish. Carl. I mean,
they had opportunities that we didn't have. Although you got to do some of that Venezuela stuff early on.
I did the Venezuela thing. I did the Africa thing.
Wait a minute. Speaking of Venezuela, can you still do the YMCA as you did on the stage in Venezuela?
That question comes from.
She saw it clearly.
Why did it stop me like that? Just let it just. Again, shut it, okay?
Go ahead. I'm going to shut my phone off.
Let it marinate for a minute.
No, go ahead. Take it away. Can you still do the YMCA as good as you did in Venezuela?
I don't know. We haven't done it in a minute.
That was try.
That was
what happened with the YMCA?
That was that was like the goats in Africa and
that's
all that stuff.
Are we going there?
That's from Dave Farrell, by the way.
Oh, is it? All right.
He did it with us.
Yeah.
I think he was the
get some music going here.
Elaborate.
I know we were obviously drinking way too much in Venezuela. That's when Venezuela was doing its thing, and the fishing was phenomenal.
that was you, your
still
brother
is
Casey,
phenomenal
right?
there.
Casey went 1 year with us. I don't think he went the first year. Remember Mauro Camusi?
Yeah.
He went with us the first couple of years, and we talked about it last. Just a 30-pound tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it if Dave does it. I got to see a live picture of Dave doing it. So the fishing was awesome.
Demonetizing the YouTube, right?
You're fishing 30-pound test. You're catching, and again, we talk about learning how to fish here. We go down there, and I'll never forget. I bought at a tournament. I bought a raffle deal for 3 days on a Courtesan 2, not with Dave Knowling, the other Courtesan boat. And then we were going to fish the tournament, the Grand Slam tournament, on another boat. I forget how it went down, but anyway, we got down there. We that boat was broke. We end up on another boat, and these guys, they're pulling ballyhoos out with rust marks around the hooks.
Oh, dear God.
And the ballyhoo fishing down there, if the kids don't catch them that night, and I flew down there with 700, 800 baits that I hand caught, wiped them off, right?
That's the work.
They
right
won't
there.
fish them. If you don't get the bait that night from the kids fresh, you won't get a bite. And that's common knowledge for everybody.
You won't get a bite?
You won't get a bite. Nothing.
Why?
Because they want fresh local ballyhoos. That's what the fish want down there. But we're fishing, right? There's sailfish, there's blue marlin, there's white marlin, swordfish if you want to go do that. Some spearfish. But these guys are all fishing 100 and a quarter liters, $1.50. And, it didn't take but 5 minutes, and we're cutting all this shit off, cutting the snap off the snap swivel.
Yep.
50-pound
like
fluorocarbon, 30 feet of it. You were allowed 30-foot liters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you can catch a 300-pound blue marlin with a 30-pound leader when all you got to do is touch it.
Yep.
And, the rest was, everybody, we did it, and it worked really well, and the fishing was awesome. And, that led to probably drinking way too much with Dave. And that's when I think we really met and kind
Dave's
of bonded. We were at the Sheridan dancing and doing the YMCA.
See, that's, a lot of the things that we did, especially in the meat fish stuff, was relatively new and innovative, but a lot of it branches from hearing these stories. A lot of what I've done in the last 20 years and change here has been from hearing stories of what this guy does, and then, all right, that makes sense. Well, let me tweak it a little bit and try some of this, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do this thing with him.
So
let him know.
Yeah, so go on then. Like how much of an influence has Tim been to you?
A ton. An absolute ton. Him and Jamie Bunn introduced him to me, so I'm grateful for that. And he introduced me to these tournaments. Grateful for that. And again, I did a podcast the other day with
what?
With the Billfish guys. Whatever. I
know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. There's plenty of room for everybody. So, and
Timestamp that, Yanni.
The big the bit that they used the most was talking about watching what other guys are doing. Well, when I'm talking about watching what other guys are doing, a lot of it was watching what this guy was doing and never really having fished with him for the first. I sword fished one night with him for the first 8 maybe years that I knew the dude. Yeah. But I figured out pretty quick, having moved to Pompano, all right, this guy's doing some shit right, and
so all right,
emulate some of what he does and then make it your own.
Yeah. So let me tell this real quick, right? And I've said this before. I actually probably said it on, I don't know, the first time or the second time we were on the show.
Imitate,
like
emulate.
That, right? So, and I'm going to say it again. But I'm going to say it again because I just love saying this. The first time that I ever met Tim Maddock.
That's a good story.
Right? I was in high school.
At a party. And there was a bluefin picture on the wall.
House.
No, it was a mount.
Mount. Oh, shit. I should have brought my mount today, too. We were putting it on
it was
the wall
the
here.
tail. And I'm just like, I walked in the room and I'm just like, and your sister walks up to me. She's like, yeah, my brother caught that. And there's a little picture of you, like 8x10 or whatever like that. And you got the big ass curly hair like your son has now. Right? All right. And then you come in and I'm like, yeah, I'm Tim. Like oh,
he was
great
arrogant
to meet
fuck
you,
back
like
then, but
right, all stuff like that. And then you're talking to me about, I'm like, yeah, I paint fish at the time. I was in high school, but I was 17, but I was in like the wild fish collection already. Like when Mary Alice and Rita had that art gallery, I was already in there. I'm already drawing fish and all that and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're like, yeah, man, you can draw like this. You got to do it like this, and like showing you some work. And it was like a great first time I ever met you. And like I tell you, I've said it once on the show, many more than once, but I'm going to say it again, right? Like you can take the famous people in Hollywood and all the other shit that they shove down your throats on TV, right? You can can it. I can give two shits. You guys are my fucking heroes. And these are the guys that I look up to. These are the guys that I've always like. These are the guys that I respect and I admire and I acknowledge. And I'm gonna say that for record or to heart or whatever you guys want to call it, right? I respect the shit out of you guys because you guys seriously lay it all out on the line, right? And you really do.
It's fishing though. Still,
it is. It is though. But put that into perspective too. It's you're doing it through a vessel of passion. You're doing it through. You're not doing it through a traditional means of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to say like that guy in the corporate office is my hero," right? And I only say that because, like, this is the path that I chose for a living, right? To just paint fish for a living. It's like I love fishing. Right? I love being on the water. I love just making the ocean my life. I really do. It is truly my passion. I don't do it on your guys' level because I choose to be behind the canvas instead, right? I choose to like use God's given talents and like explore it there, right? To me, painting a fish is just like catching a fish.
Can you do any of that shit? Can you draw?
I can draw. I doodle my ass off at work. I mean, all day. I'm throwing notebook pads away like they're free. I got all my different colored. Like, it ran on my family. I think what my dad could draw. I got some stuff my dad drew before he died.
Can't do a thing. I can barely sign my name.
So perspective to me for this episode, it's like this is who I'm bringing on. Like I'm having like two of my favorite guys here at the table that I respect the hell out of, right? And that I call friends, and I'm proud of that. Yeah. So
I got a question though, and it freaked the fuck out of me again.
They're trying not to be cool about it.
It's
trying to be too cool about it. Yeah,
it's weird to me.
See what she does to me?
It's weird.
God damn, I made that awkward, didn't I?
Not at all. So I talked about when Chippy talked about we going to the tower is going to change things or whatever for us. And at the moment it was, be fine. But after you won the Miami Billfish tournament in 2003.
That was the last time.
Yep. 2003, you won the Miami Billfish tournament and you said, I'm not going to fish down here anymore. Can't compete with these guys in their backyard like this. Fucking dude just won the Miami Billfish tournament and said, no, can't do this anymore.
Why?
What the hell was that? That tripped me out a little bit because I've always, well, let me finish. I've always believed, especially the saying, if you're successful in Pompano, you can go anywhere and be successful fishing. And I've always thought, if it's a mud puddle or it's the Pacific or the Atlantic or wherever, I'm going to figure it out. It may take a day or two, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to be successful. But to hear, again, a guy that I emulated a lot of, or imitated or emulated, whatever the fucking word is, a lot of what I did and started, and made what I do from, him saying that, I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to hear that.
It was, I mean, listen, you had Louis on the LNH, you had Neil doing whatever he was doing then, Ray, of course.
Talk about Louis for a second.
Tambo, I mean, all them guys in Miami, in their towers, in their backyard, with all their,
Oh, yeah.
And the only time I would go to Miami 5 days a year.
Yeah.
It was 3 days in this tournament and 2 days in this tournament. 5 days out of the whole year. And we were fortunate enough to, win our share. But when you're putting the money up, it's on your dime, you're taking off of work, it's your boat, and it was different back then too, because the money was nothing like it is now,
right.
So it didn't cost you 30 or 40 grand to fish one event. But back then, if it was 10 grand, it was still a lot. 10 grand. I don't have 10 grand to throw out if we don't win.
Right.
And I and my whole crew, I believe it wholeheartedly, like, we got to win a daily. We got to do something. We got to get Tim's money back in the bank. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I really take that to Key West the year we won it, when they delivered my boat down to me 2 days before the tournament, where they added another 15 grand at Calcutta's. We're into this thing for 50 grand, 55 grand for 2 weeks down there. And, we were just talking about it last night, the hard work. So here's the World Sailfish Championship, the biggest sailfish tournament there is. We're down there for 2 weeks, and I don't see another boat till the Sunday before the tournament or the Monday before the tournament. Like, I thought we got the right dates, right? Like, I mean, legit, like, I think we got the right dates. That led all the way up to the first 2 days of the tournament. We're going out. We're loaded going out. You got your little boundaries that you got to sit in. I say little, they were some miles down there, but you had to stay inside the reef. And We're going by all the big marinas there, A and B and Galleon.
Ain't no lights on.
There's not one light on. We're loaded. We're going out the inlet.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one light on yet. It's 5 o'clock or whatever time it was. If I'm going to break something, I want to have time to fit, it's just the,
fuck, I can't believe I didn't get to play back then in those
the what you put into it, the heart and soul. It was never about the money. That was great and blessed.
It allowed you to do it the next time.
When it happened.
That's why I think when I tell him about the great year that he had, and he says, it was good money or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't
you'd
win
be
that.
hard pressed to ever do it again. I mean, it's hard to do that, man.
It's really hard.
It just is. And that you say, like, what did you learn and how did you learn it and what do you tweak? And it's funny that you just said that because my dad died when I was 16, the year I caught that tuna, and I didn't buy my first boat till I was 22. I never had a Boston whale or I never had a little Mako that my dad bought. I didn't have a boat.
Right.
We'd steal the John boat from the neighbors and pull down the docks, to go down to the intracoastal that we weren't allowed in. But, and for 6 years I fished with anybody I could get on with, just to learn. My dad died. I don't have a boat. I fish with, again, the icing on the cake was, hey, if you're going to buy my boat, we'll fish the rodeo with Kevin McDaniels, who was winning everything at the time. He was like the guy to beat. And that was like the nail in the coffin for me because I fished with all these guys and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till I can do this on my own and tweak that and tweak that and tweak that and tweak that. But that's a long time from a young age to I can't wait till, I get my own boat.
Right.
And then at 22 till, whatever, we were doing it exactly like Artie did, from meat fishing to sail fishing. It doesn't matter. He's going to do it in whatever he's doing because it's what we do. I'm fishing with Timmy and his boss now. And it's like, I don't take one bite of food. I don't, if lucky, you're down a Red Bull while you're making a new drip, it's
making a reset.
You're just, nonstop, just doing what we do. So it's
I'm still pretty full.
That's the thing. It's like if you really kind of put it, we talked earlier about now 2 very different guys, 2 very different approaches, right? Yelling, non-yelling, or whatever you want to say.
But that's all the same. That part of it is.
This is what I was about to say. Though
it's got to
be.
Like, you can't do it any other way.
But if you look at your ride so far. Right, his ride so far started earlier, right, started later, like that, the kind of thing. Still going hard, charter and everything like that. You're kind of like no boat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But come game day,
let's go.
You're firing.
It's interesting, the difference in the learning process. Obviously, Tim came in with a skill, and talked about Billy Curtis earlier. I was actually on the phone with him today through his daughter down at Carl's for the first time in probably 20 years. But that guy, he put a bait in water. He caught some. When I was a kid in the wintertime, grouper and cobia fished all winter. Summertime, it was snappers, yellowtails, and mahis, and it was what would pay the bills, whatever. Put fuel back in the boat, and maybe you got a couple bucks out of the deal every time. Generally, you did. But one winter, we're going to, at the time, Hog Haven was loaded with cobias in the winter. Like every year, we whack them. And Billy Curtis in his little 23 Mako says, I'm going to go catch a yellowfin. You don't say you're going to go catch a yellowfin in Broward County ever and actually do it. I'd heard there'd been a few around. I'm going to go catch one. So we're on our 5th, 6th, calling them on the rig. Dude, Curtis, fucking whacking him here. I'm tight. Don't worry about it. Dude catches a yellowfin, pulls over, got a 50-pound yellowfin. There's guys like that, and I think he's one of those guys. Whatever. You get bit, and
you go back to the Miami thing though, and I'll tell you this, and up until I quit kind of doing the sailfish thing, all those names that I mentioned, why I don't want to go down there and compete because it's their backyard, and they know the wrecks, and they know the rock piles, and they know the tide, and they know, right? They just it's their backyard, it's their baby. They charter fish every day. Or they work for somebody where they can fish, unlimited amount of hours and days. And till the day I stopped doing it, kind of, these guys are getting bit and they're still using 40-pound leaders. They're still using 50-pound leaders. They're still using bigger hooks. I wasn't fortunate enough to, whether I was doing something wrong or it was just my, ADD, I can't put a 50-pound leader out with a hook that big anymore. And we used to. That last year I won the Miami tournament. I had
those giant
9.0 or 10.0 Gamakatsus. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't go bluefin tuna fishing with these things. But back then it was, you got to have that big gap to hook the sailfish. Right. Because it was so new to circle hook fishing.
Sure.
Right? We're going, this little circle hook is not going to, oh God, it was, you go snook fishing with 100-pound and wouldn't have a problem. But quick, we went 50, 40, 30. The year in Key West, we were fishing 20-pound fluorocarbon leaders with 3.0, And that's what I felt that I had to do to be competitive, right? They took away the live chum and they took away the boundaries, the speed, the amount of rods. So for me, it was just downgrades, go smaller, go smaller, go smaller, go smaller.
Right.
Look better.
But it costs you. You get stretched out on a triple or a quad and you can't do nothing but put your thumb on the spool.
And more opportunities.
More opportunities.
You can't lose a fish you don't get bit from.
True. So, again, you could go all day long about how he did it, how you learn, that was a big thing for me. We had to keep tweaking it, right? Yeah. Like you said, I heard he does this. We're going to do it different, So,
and what's interesting is, Tim's talking about the technical end of it, and the technical end of it's got to be as good as you can do it, and as good as you feel like your anglers can do it. To where I feel, and what brought me back to feeling confident and be able to go to Miami or wherever I needed to go to be successful is those guys had those solid guarantees. If the current's doing this, the wind's doing this, the tide's doing this, whatever, this is where we need to be. Well,
what if it's not?
And I put all that out of my mind. I don't have that.
Right.
Put it out of my mind. I solely concentrate on the water or the condition makes up. Run until you see that.
Color current.
All of it. There's a whole bunch more that we're not going to talk about, but make things align perfectly because those guys are going to have this. I don't have that. So while maybe they put a little too much emphasis on that and take their mind off of those other things that will get you bit, and I'm going to work those things. And on those great years that we have as they roll in, their go-tos aren't working as well. And my concentration and emphasis on those other things that will get you bit. You remember that one time in Wild Bill's, you said, fuck, every time you find a condition up there in Palm Beach, you get bit. Well, it's hard to find a condition. It wasn't consistent. Well, take my bait out of the water for half the day and find the condition, find that situation, and then pound it. And that's where the intensity has to step up, and this shit's got to roll fast because it's going to go away.
Right.
That water's constantly moving and changing.
It's the hunt.
So that's where I feel like when I heard that from Tim, I said, fuck, that's concerning. And I said, well, this is how I beat that. Is I don't emphasize on what they're emphasizing on. I find another way. And there's days when they're going to smoke you. Absolutely. And it's because their condition and their situation is working out perfectly, and I don't have that in my pocket. But I do when it's not working for them, or maybe it is working for them, but my situation's working as well. And then you get that fun head-to-head bouncing back and forth in the race. I always call it the race when you're bouncing a fish back and forth and the lead changes. Those are my favorite. Blowing them out's fun, but my favorite is when it's like we had going down there in Miami this year, south of Fowey, for that cove. That was fun. I remember it's only two of us down there, and I love competing with this guy because I truly do.
When we made it right, and Timmy goes, "That's already in front of us. This is the tournament." Yeah. So it was. And then Artie pulled a traditional stop on a triple, stop on a quad at the end and smoked us. But yeah, that was cool.
The funny thing is like you could look at a day 2 of a tournament and you see native son sitting there at like 7 or 8, 5 or 6 fish out.
Doesn't matter.
And you just look at it and be like,
doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
He's going to take it. Yeah. And you just as the day goes on,
here he comes. You
just see him creeping up on the board, and it's just like, mother, doing it again.
It's that groove. What is it with that groove? How do you, because you can't duplicate it intentionally. It's just, I guess
it's got to start to happen. all the stars got to align. They do. I mean, at the end of the day, it all.
There's more to it than that, though. I mean,
but you got the same crew, the same
experience,
bait,
education, consistency.
You got all the same stuff all the time. How come those days aren't more often?
Preparation meets opportunity, right?
Where it all comes together.
I appreciate the fishing techniques, but I just want to know how much is it to fire the cannon?
Danny Massa. I know that one. No, Danny Massa's dad, actually. That was Danny Massa's dad.
I don't know nothing about the
Tell me that.
No.
What?
No. I will not. Whoever it is that wrote that, it could have been Jim DeMarco because he was there too at the time.
None of the above.
Well, that's who it was. It was absolutely Danny Massa's dad. It could be Jim Steele. He was there.
Skip Dana's one.
Skip Dana was there.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Oh God, that was fucking hilarious.
So you're not going to tell the crowd?
No.
No. All right. We might.
It was a giant cannon, though. Giant. I mean, the fucking thing was so loud.
A real cannon?
Oh yeah.
Like a cannon.
Oh yeah.
Was there a ball on the end of it?
I don't think it was a ball.
The gag ball? Anything?
That would be a really big gag ball if it was in a cannon. I mean, really big.
All right. You got another one?
Yeah, last question is strangest bait or way you've ever caught a sailfish?
Hooked, and I don't know if it counted or not, but we counted it. It was in like a Nova Southeastern tournament. Jimmy and I got freelanced on a giant Intrepid. God, what a piece of shit that thing was. It would not run. It was so bad.
Get a mark for a new boat. Go ahead and check out CV Boats.
Absolutely. Best center console in the water.
You can check out the Friel collection, Karl, if you're looking for
Anyway, so fish shows up. We get bit. Everything looks perfect. It was a hook and hand thing. So
how do you
perfect
feel
time
about
for a
that?
CV
How do you
commercial.
feel about that Edgewater?
But anyways, the fish feeds. Everything was perfect right in front of Hillsborough Inlet. Raining like a motherfucker, but somehow keeping the helium and the kites up. And we get tight on the fish, hand rod off to the dude. The dude's fighting the thing or whatever. And we get the cork pinned to the snap, to the tip, and the fish is still like 30 feet away. What the fuck is going on? How are we tight with this thing? Jimmy starts finger tipping the leader to it, and he gets to our hook that is through a loop on another leader that must have been still in the fish somehow or something, and starts leadering the second half of the leader. We somehow hooked the fish through a loop in a leader that was already in the fish. So
Really?
we had our leader plus somebody else's leader and then the fish. We watched the fish eat the bait.
Right.
But this tiny little loop, our hook slides to strangest one I've ever hooked.
In a tournament?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a bullshit little, like, little Southeastern thing or something we were freelance
Okay.
for. It wasn't anything important, but it was weird.
I don't have any crazy sailfish. I don't have any crazy.
You caught 65 in a day. Not one of them did anything weird?
If you catch a 65, you're blazing through them so fast, you don't know where they
Yeah,
were
that's
hooked.
true. That's true.
Leader in hand and done.
Yeah, those are.
Strangest bait or way they've ever caught a sailfish is the question.
I saw Ray catch one time. We were spun up in a bunch of fish together, and Ray caught one, and I could see the guys he was freaking out. He didn't know what to do. I could see the fish in the water, and the bill had gone through the double line, and he was literally. I see him getting on the radio and on the phone and whatever, and all. And he found, what they eventually said, just touch the thing with a rod. The fish wasn't hooked. The bill just got wedged between the double line and caught it like that. 20-pound holds up to a sailfish bill.
Yeah,
Scissored like that. I saw.
I don't have one.
I mean, really, I
you
saw.
don't have one.
John Louis. I've been fetched up so many times with John Louis, fish multiples all together, whatever. And you remember the dude that used to own the Wound Up? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Warren Sands. Yep, he passed, but they were in a triple, and I see him spinning hard, and Warren's getting ready to come around that old Spencer boat of his on the starboard side. I was in the Timbuktu at the time, and the dude, I see his right foot slip in the drink, gone. Which, considering what happened this year, how bad that can be.
Yeah.
That was one of my clients.
God.
That was.
Was it one of
I
your
was
clients?
just getting emails, and you're talking about down at Ocean Reef, right?
Yes, we are.
I just had a string of emails going, just
The
delivered
Toro,
product, and it was like
Really?
Juan Carlos.
Horrible.
Yes.
He was
That was a horrible situation.
Him and Scotty were going to buy that contender that we're redoing for a bait boat.
It's unfortunate. It'd be crazy how shit can happen. But anyway, he hits a drink and holds onto the rod. I see him knock the thing out of gear on his clicker on whatever he did. I don't know. And throws the thing in the boat and swims around. They open the door and they ended up catching all three of the triple.
Yeah,
It was
nice.
a pretty wild one.
I wanted to bring up as guys that grew up fishing this area. I'm gonna put my conservation hat on for a minute, right? And it's really a big point of the show and the company now. I mean, that we talk about this on every episode, because I want to beat it like a dead horse. I really do. Just a couple guys growing up in this area, fishing here for a long time. Give me your perspective. I mean, you're on a board.
Not anymore. Biden fired me.
Really? Well, are you on the reef committee?
No.
Or you don't want to talk about that?
I quit that shit.
You quit it. Okay. Why did you quit it?
Too angry.
Why?
Because I saw them going the same direction that everybody else is. They're all trying to, in the name of coral, which is stony corals are dead and gone. If we don't scientifically find a way to allow them to live in the cesspool that we've created out here, they're dead and gone.
Cesspool? Why?
Dirty water. It's all water
dirty
quality
water
issues.
Okay.
It absolutely is. But anyway, and they were branching away from coral concerns and going into fisheries, trying to restrict fisheries.
Right.
There's already 2 divisions that are doing nothing but trying to restrict fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need some assholes, environmentalists, fucking
I don't
tree
think they
hugging
need the
pricks.
national park this thing. I mean,
They're doing that.
I
You don't
think
want
they
them to
need
do that.
I mean, I believe that there are great coral
Federal-
restoration programs going on
There
right
are.
now. Fantastic coral restoration
FWC has
programs.
biologists right now.
It's not hooks that are
24 hours
a
a
problem.
day. No, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They sleep in the laboratories trying to figure out how to save coral.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody cares more than those people.
Right.
But anything that the federal government gets their hands
Dr.
on,
Charlie Gregory from the Reef Institute up there in Palm Beach is a perfect example of a guy that looks at this the right way.
Yeah.
100%.
the feds will fuck it up. They fuck everything up. And that's who's trying to
Because
get
they're
involved
looking
in
at paper.
fisheries. Huh?
Because they're looking at paper, looking at computer screens when they're making decisions.
We were talking to someone the other day, like with the shark issue. Obviously, it's
right, horrible.
Feds fucked that one.
It's they want to raise mutton snapper, right? Make them, what are they, 18 inches now, 20 inches?
We just got it there. That's 18 inches is perfect.
18 inches is good because that's when the
females become sexually
mature. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: when they say, well, and somebody in Key West really spelt this out with the Tortugas. When I worked on the fish finder down there when I was 18, I went on every trip that boat went on for a year. We never caught one genuine red. Not one single true American red snapper in the Tortugas.
Right.
Every trip for a year. Now the place is loaded with them. There's guys anchored up in 30 feet of water catching them on fly rods.
You know the tug up there in Delray?
Mm-hmm.
Juveniles stacked up there.
So now they're up here now, and this is a person who's caught a lot of fish in the Tortugas, and he said average mutton in this year went from this to this to this to this. How many we used to catch on every charter, and it's going like this. And when you talk about that up here, so he's basically saying, just like with the peacocks and the largemouth bass, you mix them, peacocks are going to win.
100%.
The American red's going to kick the shit out of the mutton snapper. He's like, you mark my words, in 5 years, 10 years, whatever the number is, you won't catch a mutton in the Tortugas anymore. That he's a firm believer of that.
Wow.
Because they're overpowering the reds are overpowering. What are you going to catch 1 or 2 per person? Whatever the limits are down there.
The East Coast fishery this year is 2 fucking days for red snappers.
No different than the sharks. So for 100 years, here's our body of water that these sharks are traveling in, right? All they do is kill shit all day, every day.
Right.
Everything's been fine. So you can tell me it's the coral that we're not allowed to kill sharks anymore?
No.
Right? So here's this thing that just mass reproduces over and over and over again. I don't know what the metric tons that we used to be allowed to kill here commercially.
A lot.
When you take that away for 5 years, 10 years, right?
Working on 15 now.
15 years. This thing has just pack of wolves on your hunting camp. You don't kill them for 10 years. You're not going to have any animals left.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about deer right? They're going to eat everything that's out there because once they're gone, they got to eat that. It's the same thing. You're letting this man-eater wait till they slide in on the beaches when the reefs become a little less abundant,
right?
And there's less fishermen because we can't even go out there and catch a fish anymore because the sharks are eating them all. Forget about the charter captains that people have been saving up all year to come down here for their 2-day charter that haven't landed a fish in the last 3 trips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're nothing but
they're
shark.
not coming back, right?
Yep.
Right.
So
you want to know why we didn't see that many of them in this last tournament? All that dead shit in the intercoastal. dude, this morning coming in from bait fishing, they'd already eaten all the dead shit now.
Right.
They were up finning around hunting.
Inside?
Dude, the intercoastal was packed with giants. My canal, I'm cruising down my canal, and right in front of me, I got a 400-pound bull shark finning along hunting dead bait.
We swam in them canals our whole lives.
Right.
We didn't have bikes and motorcycles to get to the beach. We had to swim across the intercoastal. Now,
no.
It's so I'm not. He spends.
I'm out. I'm done.
No, but
way more
Tim,
time on the water.
That was great what you just said, though,
But
because it's true.
The common sense of it, again, I haven't fished the Tortugas in 100 years, but when someone that makes their living down there, if Artie was saying this up here, you'd listen to him because he makes his living here every day, going out of Hillsborough Inlet and fishing from Hillsborough to, Del Rey. This guy's like, he's got it written down. This year, average catch, average size. This year, and it's less quantity and smaller sizes. And the other thing here is how can you get it accurate how many I don't even know how they do it, but how many 10-pound muttons are caught? Well, you can't catch one anymore because the sharks are eating them.
Yeah.
So all you're catching is shorts and you're letting them go and they're getting eaten anyway.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with that too.
That's a big problem.
We can't keep him because he's undersized. The only ones we catch are undersized. I'm being a little facetious here.
Balance is the issue, right?
He catches a lot of muttons on his charters, but how many of the big ones get sharked?
And again, it's not fair with me because if you get sharked, I move. I'm done. But generally, you catch one or two, and then the next one's getting sharked, and you gotta go,
or you gotta stop doing it.
Exactly, which is what
once they show up. It's
once they figure out what you're
territory.
Doing. Yeah, once they figure out what you're doing, and again, I say it every time we're on this thing, fish aren't that stupid. They learn this shit. And the same thing's going to happen down there in the Tortugas.
Well, I think they're instinctual.
Speaking of Tortugas, if you guys are on, this is another question coming from Cody Beatty from Preferred Marine, one of the top Mercury dealers in Pompano.
Probably the top.
The top. Good group of guys there. If you guys were on a deserted island, what would be the top 3 things you would bring? No EPIRBs or any PLB?
Bring or hope for if we got deserted?
Either or.
A voiceless chick, a fishing rod, and something to start a fire.
And what's the difference between pussy and kitty?
One looks great shaved and one looks scary as shit.
We've reached
that
the
was pretty
inevitable
good,
point in
Artie.
the podcast.
I might go for the spear.
I like a fishing rod.
I might go pole spear.
If you were stuck,
but then
in
I'd probably
Rhode
get
Island,
attacked by a shark, and it wouldn't matter anyway. Yeah, maybe I'll go for the rod.
Fishing rod, baby. Yeah, a harpoon or something.
3
cool
its?
too.
Did you guys pick 3 items?
Yeah, I think I nailed it.
What'd you do?
Didn't take me long at all.
A
Something
woman
to
with
start
no
a fire.
voice.
Sorry.
Definitely wouldn't be me.
You really didn't hesitate on that at all.
You can accomplish the same thing with a blow-up doll, and you don't got to feed it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Save all the coconuts for you to hydrate. Understand?
Oh, God. That was a joke, people. If you can hear me and don't get mad at me, whatever.
That's going to make the soundbite roll. Sorry.
Did we even get any of them?
I think I nailed it, didn't I?
You're nailing the blow-up doll? I'm stuck at blow-up
I'm still stuck on kitty and pussy.
I'm trying to figure out what island. What island?
It's got to be warm. I ain't getting deserted on the cold island. I can't do that. I'll just go ahead and give up.
Who brought that up? Doug Kinnear?
Cody.
That's Cody Beatty from Preferred Marine.
Doug Kinnear was always, when you're, he was uncanny. If the dude was around, some drunk chick was close by, and it'd go from show me the boobies, fucking Joe Deertate, to show me the kitty. And the dude said it, and they did.
You asked 10 of them, they're not all going to slap you.
They're not.
That was a good group of dudes we had going there for a long time, bro.
I was talking to Jason about that. We're like, man, those old K-Sal trips. And
Look, you're going to get Cody on the show.
Look at the sharks in the Bahamas, right? Look at the mutton. Matt White's
Wait
there.
a minute, Tim.
Matt White's there right now. He's there with his family for a week.
Tim, we've got callers actually going in. Your choice. Tim's first 2 would be cigars and Red Bull on this remote island.
I don't really need Red Bull if we're on a remote island.
So so you haven't picked your 3 yet?
No. Cigars for shit.
Cigars for sure, right?
What kind of cigars? Monte Cristos?
Arturo Fuente, 858s. And I would need a cigar lighter, so I only get one other thing.
Or you can get the stick thing?
I'd smoke a lot of cigars. So I would need a light. Actually, and I need butane fuel. So I'm done. I gotta catch my fish.
You're dead, dude. You are dead. You are now a legend. You understand that?
I'll be the first legend between me and Artie.
Nothing
on
to
the
catch.
Island?
You're gonna make wooden hooks.
I'll catch some fish.
You'll catch them.
Yeah, we'll kill something, iguanas or something. I don't know how we're gonna clean them, but we'll figure it out.
Rocks and sticks.
He's gonna do this.
If I'm gonna die on an island, I want to die with a cigar in my mouth.
You're dead with what you just said. Yes.
No way. Coconuts. You could live off of coconuts for so long.
How you gonna open? Oh, you can crack them.
I don't know. Man. Tom Hanks would disagree.
Wilson.
That was TV. That wasn't real life. When you really got to do it.
Well, I mean, shit.
Or it would be a great time to stop smoking cigars.
Yeah. All right. So take the cigars off the table.
Out.
Let's do like essential life things here. What would you have?
I mean, you got to make a fire.
Cody's the winner, by the way.
I want to spearfish.
My dog Kona. If I could bring her back.
I think I broke this chair.
Did you
Definitely
really?
too fat.
The messed up thing is I used to bring the nice chairs in. Jesus Christ, the place is falling apart. Art's breaking chairs. Yanni's dropping artwork.
And then it depends on where it is because I'm not a bug fan. So I need the mosquito net.
I thought you were talking about
What
lobster.
would be your remote island? Which one would you pick? What hemisphere? Well, obviously you know what hemisphere, but where?
Southern, 100%.
Obviously,
Gotta be close to where the cruise ships and the girls are coming, right?
So you're gonna be able to wave one over. You're staying
stuck on Sunset Key in Key West.
That ain't a bad spot. That's not so deserted. That ain't a bad spot.
No, that's not deserted either.
That's all I
Ocean
need.
Key. But
And kittens and pussies coming off the cruise ships.
No kittens. No kittens, no cats. Not a fan.
All right, Art Sapp.
No. Yes, maybe.
You said...
He looks very scared right now.
Yeah, just got called out for something.
You come to the principal's office, please.
So you know it'd be a great episode. I want to get Timmy on with us, right? So all right, let's bring Tim in. Tim's been on the show, right?
I got to know. So
that's it. So
yeah, I'd like to add
one question for Tim Maddock.
Yeah, I got one for Tim. Another one. So I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and obviously not an experience that you really got to have too much because your old man passed so young. But when my old man kind of realized, well, shit, this dude might be naturally have a knack for this a little more than I do.
Your dad about you.
Yeah. And whatever. And so at what point, and obviously I improved on what he did. And his old man was fish man. My old man was more in the woods. He was a hunter.
Right.
But he fished and got me introduced into it and loved it dearly. I mean, all of that. But at what point do you recognize Timmy's knack, who obviously he has one?
Great question.
And is he...
Great question.
At his age, at your level that you were at your age, and is he going to improve on the things that you did?
So I think the first part of that is a big difference, right? I think, and I don't know you and your dad like that, especially way back when, but I don't think your dad did half of what you've turned it into, not a fraction, right? He was hunting and commercial fishing or whatever. So you took all those things, however you got there, went to the next level with it. I look at pictures with my dad, and when he died in '86, it was the Fergusons. There was 3 or 4 or 5 boats that you had to worry about. But your kite reels, you had one manual 4.0 with 2 clips on it. You had 6 rods on the boat, 5 rods on the boat. None of them matched. I mean, they were 4.0s.
Whatever you had, yeah.
You were just
you were. If you had the dual conversion kit on your 4.0,
it wasn't so bad. So. And my dad never did any good. He had just bought his boat and just started fishing tournaments. But we fished the whole time when we moved down here. And I look at those pictures every day at my house, and I go, how the fuck did we catch a fish? Like, we're sailfish tournament with number 9 wire with, J hooks this big. I mean,
do you think some of that goes down to what Art said earlier? The fish are intelligent; they learn. Like, do you think they
but you didn't have to catch
area?
20 or 30 sailfish back then to win a tournament?
True.
Right? So no different than baseball or football and the most yards and a hole in one or most home runs.
Level playing field.
Fishing has taken
a
ginormous...
Huge.
Right? I mean, we worked as hard back then we thought we were doing better than the whole world with all the right? It was the same effort, the same mindset, but totally different.
Technically, we have improved drastically, no doubt.
But the caliber and the reading of the water and all the other things and the, you know, to go out and catch, you know, sometimes if you don't catch 20 in a day, you don't stand a chance, right? So it's a whole different thing now.
And the fishery wasn't as good then. When those roller nets went away, our fishery improved.
When the nets went away, I think that was a huge thing for the reef fishing.
I think because of bait.
And you know, people say when the longlanders went away, you know, they're still fighting to get them back because they say we don't kill our swordfish quota now. But you used to go rod and reeling out here, you'd never get a bite. I'm going way back in the day.
Right.
Well, then when they did away with the long lining, and we had already started before that, but that only added to it. When they did away with, you know, 5,000 hooks out here every night, and there was only 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of us on our boats with 4 or 5 rods out, and you would just get bit all night long. I mean, you do away with these nets and all the mackerel, and that gets rid of that, and that gets rid of that. Well, there's no more fish migrating through here, right? You take that commercial harvest out of that, and boom. You know, I think that was a huge thing on the reef.
Do you think that daytime sword fishing would be as good in light of what you just said? Like, because daytime sword fishing was relatively a newer concept compared to just traditional nighttime sword fishing.
Back then, you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, just in general. Like, do you think, like, if you put those liners back, I mean, it's going to affect the daytime?
Absolutely.
Oh, affect
it has to.
Of course, yeah.
There is residential fish, of course, but there's still migratory, and you know, whether the big ones are going north or south, depending on the time of the year. If you start, you know, I don't care if you say that. I'm not a commercial guy. I don't know what those numbers look like. He would know way more than me. But you start harvesting, let's just go quantities, whether it's 1,000 fish a month or 500 fish, right? That aren't being taken out of our waters right now, whether they're going to go live in New England or Key West.
Well,
at some point in time, they're cruising by here and we're catching them or getting bit by them.
You have that effect, but you also have the pressure effect. And when you start putting heat on a species, they change their ways.
Right.
Sure.
And an extreme heat like that, you're talking about 1,000+ hooks.
Right.
That's rod and reel guys can't do that.
Right.
We don't have enough. The population isn't here to do it.
You look at the buoy fish, and that's put.
Let's put some pressure on.
You can't go out there and rod and reel fish at night and compete with that. You
No.
got 30 boats out there with 35 hooks.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to go way inshore, way offshore. You can't be in line with them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's I think the sail fishing, right? We've talked about, this was a pretty good year sail fishing. We had some good days. You look
Sharks
at
have an effect on them, the way they're acting.
These prior years, you haven't heard the ledge doing its thing, right?
No.
And we use the ledge because I feel like that's where the sharks started. You know, it was the ledge, it was the kingfish bite, and now it's spread out. But if you walk to school every day on this street, and you walk home every day on this street, and you never get beat up, right? You're going to keep walking that street. All of a sudden, you know, you've been doing, this is how your kids did it, and their kids did it, and their kids did it. And now you're doing that, and every day kids beating the shit out of you on the way home.
Or one of your buddies.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? We can walk on this street, and they're not chasing us. They're not, you know. You can't tell me those sailfish aren't figuring that out on their normal migratory pattern, whether inshore or offshore.
Yep. That was one of the crazy things there. Not
There's
this year.
got to be something
100%.
to it.
The Jimmy Johnson, not this year, but the previous year, fishing was amazing. It was great. And we finished where it was all north, and we checked in Palm Beach or whatever. And I've been saying the sharks are definitely having an effect on the thing. Well, we're coming down the beach, and it was northwest there, kind of light, on the first day, and see a shower of ballyhoos. We pull up there, and it wasn't fish feeding in the ballyhoos. It was a pack of sails tailing in 12 feet of water. We're running just right on the beach. Run along, and fuck, there's some more and some more. Am I going to be fishing in 12 feet of water tomorrow on this thing? And there's no doubt in my mind that at that point, enough hooked fish had been pegged that day that group of fish had moved right on the beach. Well, that next morning I was in there hunting, and there was no life, no activity at all. They'd kind of reset, and they were back out in the deep again, and we found them again out there. But those fish in a 8-hour period had shifted gears from fuck, sharks are killing us.
The simple physics. It's the path of least resistance.
Yep.
Absolutely, 100%.
So
what's
back
your
to
question?
Junior.
What's your question? Well, you want to answer?
So back to Junior.
Answer,
I think that's a different transition from you and your dad and me and my dad, right? Because back then it wasn't like it is now. So we've done this over all these years, and here we are breaking all these records, catching all these fish. Fishery's way better. Well, those are some tough shoes to, you know what I mean? You got to be into it if you're going to redefine it again.
Will they?
Can I give my opinion on this?
At 20 years old, 22 years old, I don't know that I would have been running a 44 contender at 22. You know what I mean?
Well, in comparison, it would have been a 31 contender.
Or 27 conch.
Which you
19,
were pretty close. Well, not 22 you weren't.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Look at it this way. Like, I think that's a unique circumstance, right? Your son obviously is phenomenal at what he does. You raise him that way. You talk about the quiet guy versus the guy that's aggressive and yelling,
and little Timmy's somewhere in between, isn't he?
That could have gone one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking as a dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? He went all in.
Yeah.
And when you go all in under a dad like you, I mean, you're talking like
he's going to live in his
destined
shadows.
For greatness.
And
I mean that. No, look, he's already got the state record for swordfish.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That
was
I mean,
amazing.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's doing it the right way. And listen, he's got the DNA and he's got the pedigree, right? And he's obviously shown the will to do this. For this is, I mean, he's set his path for the rest of his life. That's inherently obvious, right? And I think you've laid the foundation in him to do great things. And as long as his perspective remains true and proper, because that would be the only thing holding him back at this point, if at all.
Right.
Is if his perspective or his attitude gets skewed.
Right.
Right.
Ego.
Your ego is not your amigo. Right. So how we end every episode of this show, we say that, and that's the reason why. Right. Is because if your attitude and your ego remains proper and true, you keep your keel even.
You're good.
He's going to be good, man.
Yep.
He's going to be better than you.
Probably. I hope so.
He better be. That's the goal always.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
not every dad gets that.
Right.
Legacy.
I go back to the swordfish night, and I wasn't here, and I really, that night, if I could have been here, I would have, when they were coming in and I was missing all the calls and I was hunting at my buddy's place. If it was 2 hours from here instead of 6 hours, I probably would have backed up to be there when they came in.
More coming though.
But to know that all those kids went out, they went out there and did that spur of the moment. Let's go sword fishing. How many times you go out there, you get a bite, you miss it, or you catch a nice one, you catch two nice, whatever. To do that,
real one.
And how many swordfish have been killed out here since we've been daytime and since we've been nighttime, and
not many that were 767 pounds.
That's the biggest one. That was just like,
that's epic.
I mean, that was.
What's your question for Art?
Well, I got one more.
Another one.
Yeah, well, no, it's not a question. It's an example. I've been sitting here trying to hunt the example of, in the technical end of everything I do. I share a lot, but I don't share it all, and I don't want to. And
you shouldn't.
And a lot of the technical things that I do that I
appreciate
took from
what
him,
you do share on this show.
I don't want to share what I took from him and feel like I've improved upon. But when I moved up here, I had an Ocean Master. We just built, my old man and I, and it was great. It did some cool shit. But then I saw what Tim had in that conch, and he revolutionized that boat. He took it from what the Key West guys did and made it a real boat. And that with the engines on the transom was nice, but on the bracket, and it was a whole new boat. It was a real boat. And then I got mine, and Tim's was set up one way, and I got in the thing a little bit, and it's truly a custom boat. I mean, you could take chainsaws to the thing and really make some changes in it, and I did. And I opened up that front well, first guy that did that, and turned it into a real bait well over this little oval bathtub that they had put up there, and those were some of the a really good example of what I saw and that Tim was doing before I got here, and that boat.
11 years.
Yeah. I mean, that really helped you catch fish because it was a platform that allowed you to do things that we're doing in big boats now because of its abilities.
There was no boats to do it back then.
No, not at all.
A 31, I don't even know if Contender had a 31, then he had the 36.
But it couldn't hold the bait like we did. It didn't have the deck space that we had.
The fish box, the bait wells. The
Contender wouldn't have the same beam as the Continent.
It just didn't have.
It did. You couldn't pack it all in there.
Right. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And we were taking
a phenomenal bait.
500 pounds of ice and chum. And I mean,
you could fit it all in there somehow. And you didn't sink.
Yeah.
Conchs were constantly sinking, but never actually went down.
Boat.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It was,
but I mean, that's a great example of seeing what Tim was doing from day one when I got here, and then being able to tweak it a little bit. And I don't know, that's the example I want to use here without having to go into the technical fishing end of it at all. But then shortly after that, my boy took his chainsaw to probably a die grinder or something, and cut that front bait well out. And then John Boy did, and then Jamie did. And so.
Yeah, that was going to ruin that boat when we put the bracket on it. And then like the next 65 had a bracket.
Nothing but. Yeah.
So what
a call. I mean, that's an innovation this man
on
did.
On a 27-foot boat, you add 18 inches. I mean, it's not really we're not
charter
fishing like they are down there. Yeah. We don't need, what they all said they wanted that cowling for.
Yeah.
We weren't doing that.
Armstrong was building their brackets, and it was a flat bracket in the back. And again, we're adding 18 inches of boat. Well, if the boat itself needs to be in a relative V, it had a rounded transom, but it was a V, they're V-bottom boats, whatever. Why the fuck is my bracket going to be in a V? So I went and got Kiki, a custom aluminum fabricator, said, build my bracket with a V, and everybody had their motors, nearly touching in the middle. Well, I'm more interested in control, and all the race guys kept telling me, well, closer together is faster, but you look at the Apaches and all that shit on the inboard boats, and their shit was as wide as they could get them. So I ended up spreading mine out, and the control that I got out of my boat ended up being faster than everybody else's.
I think that's an issue of surface area.
Well, that and you could jack your motors up higher too.
Yeah, but it's all relative to surface area. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
100%. So Tim, listen, not to cut you off.
Cut me off.
Question for Art. You get a minute to think about it, right? So you got Art Sapp here, okay? You guys have both expressed your appreciation and respect for each other.
Admiration.
Right? Admiration, whatever you want. You know what I mean? Give me a question for Art Sapp, and I'm going to close. I put you on the spot too, and you answered like that. All right, so I'm going to close.
What was that
about
this. The bald kitty, or I forget?
No, I said, give me a question. You asked him about Timmy Jr.
That was pretty quick, though. You were like, like they already.
Quick.
That might have been premeditated.
No, I've been trying to get him to do this podcast for
I think
a
that
while
he sits there and he's all night long before the podcast. He starts thinking
over here trying to blow the dude without actually having to do it for a while here, because he's meant a lot to me for a long time.
Give me a question for Art Sapp. One you think that would be poignant and significant, or just actually downright stupid?
Well, I just got a silly, stupid one. You're glad you started fishing sailfish tournaments, right?
Fuck yeah, again.
It's a little different when you gaff your winning 20-pound king, or you got.
Well, they used to be winning 40-pound kings. Now I can't catch 40.
I can't catch a 20-pound. Or you got a winning double on with a minute left, and it's a different.
The mind game is far more intense, and I think the competition is far more intense. Though I'm not as successful now in the meat fish tournaments as I used to be, but again, I
don't think you're doing it the way you
exactly.
You gotta pick your battles, man. I mean,
exactly.
Right? Families and kids and jobs and
exactly.
Like you said, now you're making your living in fishing, so you can't do that. Yeah, you're benefiting here.
Yep.
But you're not.
And I'm pleased to see. The only thing that keeps eating at me a little bit is to watch Bryce creeping up on that 5-ring thing.
Well,
whatever that. If he gets there, then
even when you were doing it, you weren't doing it like that, and it's a different time now, and that's what you have to do now to do what he's doing. I joke. I mean, it's a joke with me now. I'm like, well, we got 50 points. You got to have 100, or we got. I mean, we caught 235 points in that last one. We're 5th place. It's like, fuck. Bryce has got 300 points with 10 fish.
Do you remember in the rodeo?
You get what you give, right? I mean.
I'm not that mad at him anymore.
That's the term.
Listen,
it's not my boat. I go. I want to fish my ass off. I get off. I leave. I mean, I'm not that mad at him.
It comes down to that. It comes down to like what you want to get out of it, right?
You guys have no idea how red that term is right there. That's a redneck term and a half. It was all my old man's buddies he went to high school with. I just ain't that mad at him. Fucking turkeys mad at him. I ain't getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go turkey hunting. I'm not that mad at him anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going turkey hunting soon.
But you'll get up at 4 a.m. to go tuna fishing, though, won't you?
That season's over. You ain't going real soon.
No, you know what I mean. Next time.
Next season.
Yeah.
I am that mad at that, I guess. I'm mad at the sharks. I'm more at I'm in love with the fish. I'm mad at the sharks.
Don't be so angry.
My question is, because I know he sat on these boards, for however many years you were doing that deal.
Fixing it in our lifetime. No.
No fixing what specifically?
The sharks. There's no fixing it in our lifetime. It ain't going to happen.
Well, the law's in place, right?
When the shark fin ban, domestic shark fin ban, when that piece of legislation went through, we got fucked. It was over. It's over. There's no value in that anymore.
There's secondary language in that they resist it, right? There's secondary language in there that's going to keep. Because the shark fin ban one thing, right? But there's other things written into that bill.
Well, here's the thing: it's domestic shark fin sales are illegal now,
right?
So sharks caught in this country, you can only sell the meat, which is insane. Why? It's wasteful because there's value in those fins, but you can't sell them now. Well, that's where the guys made their money. They broke even on the meat on the sharks, but they made their money on the fins. Well, it's a lot of work. It's dangerous. It's exhausting. They're not going to put in that effort to break even.
You look at Thomas. I mean, he's out.
He's not doing it
for weeks. No, I would say when he was,
killing himself,
taking a million, out for weeks.
Yeah. Well, days, but it's hard work.
I mean, you know what I mean. It's days, but he comes back and then he's back out again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the amount of effort is intense. What's the answer?
What's the future of charter fishing and kids in South Florida and sport fishing?
I mean, everything's in cycles, and it'll have to cycle down. And I think our fishery's not going to be what we've been experiencing here for the last 10 years. The blackfin tuna fishery is definitely going to get whacked. The sales are going to be back to what it was in the early 1990s, early 2000s, where 4, 5, 6 fish wins most of them because of the damage it's done. It sucks. It's terrible.
That's absolutely crazy.
It's terrible. And the kings are going to take a beating, but they reproduce so fast.
Right.
The kings will do better, and hopefully maybe something good happens. In the Caribbean on the mahi end of it, and that becomes a fishery again. Because there was a time that mahis won tournaments, and it's been 20+ years since that happened.
I remember those days, the old rodeo days. We talked about the old rodeo days. You used to hang those 50-pound bulls, and you needed a 52-pound bull to win it, and they would come through. And I mean, there were
everything will
bulls
cycle
hung in those tournaments.
But it's painful for it to happen because it could be great across the board. It could be great kings and great tunas. And
well, speaking of cycling and speaking of painful, it's painful for me to end this episode, but
I've enjoyed it.
We've reached our mark.
Been trying for a minute, huh? I know we've talked about it several times. And
what was the mark? What was it? Was it an hour and a half?
No, we're a little beyond that. It's all good. But no, it's totally
What you got?
fine.
What you got?
What's your favorite bait?
In the mic, what?
Master.
What's your favorite bait?
It's too exhausting.
Master baiter.
The one you don't get anymore. Tinker mackerel.
Tinkers.
That water. We're in a cycle. The water's warmer. They don't come here anymore.
All right, last question. Oh, that's Chris. You asked that favorite bait. All right.
Welcome to the show, Dennis. It's sponsored by Papa's Pilar.
I've just been back here, just hanging out, drinking some rum, listening to my buddies talk. It's all good, right? No, seriously, go. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
I'd love.
So is this thing actually live right now? Going?
Did we go live? Oh, we're live. We were live. Yeah.
On where? On Waypoints?
On Facebook.
Oh,
no. We don't go live on Facebook. We just do the quick little voyeurism live thing on the Facebook, and then the real episode goes up.
They got to cut me out of all of it before they put it on air. All of it's got to be cut before this goes.
Post some nude pictures of Karlene.
Hey, she's married.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Art. Listen. No, seriously, thanks, guys. I mean, I want to do it again. With you two, that'd be great. I mean,
it was one of the best parts of that Wild Bills thing was that.
Oh yeah,
was that sitting around that campfire up there in bumfuck freezing cold place wherever the hell we were.
Adams County, Ohio.
Palm Beach.
Dude, they should have filmed that whole thing and put that was that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But that was kind of in a smaller version of what we just did here, and I enjoyed it.
I have to mention a program that we have going on right now. Is our Starbright Solutions program. Right? If you
tell them to send me
guys
one of these
know-
blue mitts because I am desperate.
You need one?
Yep.
You're a do-gooder. I might be able to find one for you in the back. Listen, we're looking for do-gooders in our area. Coastal conservation is the key to a lot of things that we talk about here. A lot of the missions that we have here at Connected by Water. Maintaining our coastal waterways, our mangroves, our reefs. A lot of that has to do with just simply changing your habits and looking down. You see trash, pick it up. If you want to organize a group of you guys to go out and pick up some trash on the beach, you want to educate your local community and saying, hey, put things in the garbage, don't leave them there on the beach. It's the simple things and the little things that we're looking for, right? So we have teamed up with Starbright to award people for being do-gooders in their area, just for doing the easy, simple things. No big deal. And we're going to start nominating a person every week, or receiving nominations and awarding people. You'll receive this entire bucket. The citrus degreaser.
Show the camera so they can see.
The salt off. Thanks, because I didn't do that last time. Thank you. The citrus degreaser. We got the boat wash. We got the reggae sponge.
Nice
right?
blue marlin.
Big one.
It all comes in a fancy bucket.
All comes in a fancy bucket. We got the screen cleaner, right? Some fuel treatment in there. The interesting thing about Starbright is all their products are very eco-friendly. So that is the whole point of the offering. So if you know a do-gooder in your area, please nominate them at Sea Redwine. We are collaborating with Corey and Derek Redwine up there in the Indian River Lagoon area.
That's where all my family's from.
And Corey's doing great things. They are replanting mangroves. She is an employee of the University of Florida in their research program. She is the director of conservation efforts over there at Starbright. She's a fellow artist, and we're collaborating to work with them. She makes these beautiful things with found art. I mean, you got to really check it out. At Sea Redwine, SEA Redwine. At Starbright _com, and at Dennis Friel Art, at Connected by Water. If you just message any of those accounts, doesn't have to be all, or tag them in any of your posts, that will do the job for just nominating someone. We just want to find out who these people are, and just award them for doing good in their area. Also, if you're in the market for a new truck or Jeep or vehicle that your family can enjoy, why don't you go ahead and talk to our good buddies over there at Joey Carty Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They'll hook you up. Call Dean. I don't want to make any promises, but if you say that you heard about this through the Connected by Water podcast, I think you're going to get a better deal than anybody else will. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. Papa's Pilar rum. We've been drinking the sherry cask all day.
My favorite.
Today, right? My favorite too. They remind you never to be a spectator. We heard from Mike Myatt earlier, who had some great things to say. And Karlene's going to get a first-hand experience out at the distillery in Key West.
That's pretty awesome.
Right? And
Thank you, Mike.
staying
Much
at the Papa's Pilar exclusive apartment, or whatever it is. I have yet to stay there, but I will hopefully soon.
Remember the MTV place down there?
There was an MTV place down there.
There still is, probably, but we actually stayed in it one time.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Racquetball court, sharks in the swimming pool. And
if you're hungry, you don't know where to get some food that's really, really good, the best food in the area, head on over to Papa's Raw Bar. Troy and Cassie got that situation dialed in. If you want to eat sushi, you can order something off the Connected by Water inspired sushi menu. And you won't be sad that you did that. I don't think anyone's ever ordered anything off that menu and been upset with it. So,
helm chairs, rocket launchers, teak tables, anything to outfit your sport fish. Karlene at bluewaters.com or 954-257-9513. Contact me directly and I can get all your teak needs for your
buy some
vessel.
shit, people.
100%.
Even your center consoles. We got a whole line of center console helm chairs going out. We're doing all the Freemans, all the Hydro Sports. We got a whole lot, conchs, everything. So definitely give me a shout if you're looking to outfit something for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Native Sun Charters.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
I'm still not sure if I'm making any money right now with the fuel prices the way they are.
Geez. Your ego, it's not your amigo. Always do your best, and at the end of the day, just let God do the rest. And do not ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we are all
connected by water.
Thank you.
Rum.
Salute.
Rum.